Very, very serious word. So.
Okay. All right. So I knew you had something to say about that, Dennis. And again, this topic of death of the ruling party, Jubilee, follows Kanu footsteps. Decimated and a pale shadow of its glory days, ruling Jubilee Party faces a bleak future. It is walking a path trodden by PNU, NARC, and the Independence Party, Kanu. And Prof, I'm still going through a few more stories, but keep this in mind.
Right.
You know, in 2017, actually from 2013 up to 2017, Uhuru and Ruto told us, you know, these things of tribal parties should come to an end. And, you know, we all need to come under one ideology. And people abandoned their parties in favor of Jubilee. How has that played out? Because as far as this last election was concerned, it was like it was the resurgence of the small parties. So is the situation in Kenya different from that in the UK and the US, where you have the liberals and the conservatives? We'll get into that. We'll get into that. So just keep that in mind. I see here mixed legacy, Mount Kenya's deep love and raw hate for Uhuru. It's a full circle for President Kenyatta in his political career, spanning about a quarter century. It started with rejection, morphed into love, and ended in rejection. Cost of living, unga price to rise as subsidy ends. With campaign season having ended, state now says it cannot sustain expensive subsidy that kept the cost of staple at 100 shillings per 2 kg packet. The Ministry of Agriculture has denied this. Okay, and on the other side, before I get into the main story on the front page of the Daily Nation, on the other side, Dennis, maybe you could read that for us? So
we have faces here, and we're looking at Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, Ali Roba, Fred Matiang'i, Hassan Joho, Salim Vuria, Eugene Omalo, and Rigathi. And so enter the kingmakers of 2022 polls. And that story is in 3 pages, actually, on the Sunday Nation, 19, 20, and 21. So they staked their reputations. The reputations, time, and resources to support their chosen political causes, and they did deliver the numbers in the Tuesday elections. Now is payback time from the big two. That is Ruto and Raila Odinga.
And I can see here they are, now finally, in the center of the page. A dual Azimio Kenya Kwanza claim presidential win. Mind games, the Raila-Ruto power balance. And here we see in terms of elective office, the wins on either side: 19 governors-elect on the Azimio side, 21 governors-elect on the Kenya Kwanza side, 22 senators-elect on the Azimio side, 24 on the Kenya Kwanza side, 141 MPs-elect on the Azimio side, 149 MPs-elect on the Kenya Kwanza side. Deputy President and Azimio La Umoja leader Odinga's political camp seek to energize their bases as the long wait for the official IEBC announcement tests the patience of a nation already fatigued by long political campaigns and the high cost of living. And Prof, another question for you to jot down. I hope you're jotting this down.
Yes.
Yeah, I see you have is that a black book like Leila Mohammed's at the Bomas of Kenya?
No, it's grey.
It's a grey. You'll have a grey book. In your grey book.
It's not totally black.
My second question, just from the front page of the Daily Nation, and we haven't even gone too far, is I remember when the election was annulled in 2017, the presidential election, and William Ruto asked, how can we have the majority in parliament and then be said to have stolen the presidential election? Do these numbers, are they a true indicator of which way the presidential election will go? Because yesterday we saw Azimio bring together those who succeeded in the elections and host them at the Kenya International Convention Center as show of might. You know, do these numbers, are they a true indicator of which way the presidential election will go? Dennis, did you have something to add?
No.
Yeah, I think
I'm just curious to hear what Prof has to say about
Oh, okay. So do you want him to address it?
Yes.
All right.
That's actually great. And I think this is not really precedented. Same thing, we've raised this issue that Kenyans don't like to calculate. They hate arithmetic, they hate numbers, they hate facts. You see, even in single counties, we've had a situation where the governor is from one party, the senator is from another party, the woman rep is from another party, the MCAs are from another party. I think it's very simplistic to argue that because say majority MCAs came from a particular party, then the governor must automatically come from that party. And that has been going on forever. In fact, my friend Ali Roba, who's now, well, I mean, let me not declare that, from Mandera, actually won the Mandera governor seat in the previous election with almost zero MCAs from his party. Yeah, so the way, I think it's simplistic. And we've had president, we had a case here of Kibaki winning elections with a party that is almost extinct. It was called PNU. People had all sorts of derogatory variations of that. But when Kibaki was winning there, PNU actually had virtually no seats in Parliament. I think what's good during this time, of course, I mean, we've not consolidated all the numbers, but what is good around this time is that the two contenders, the UDP Kenya Kwanza and Azimio, they do have significant numbers. They do have significant numbers of governors. They have significant numbers of senators. They've got significant numbers of in the National Assembly. Yeah. So for me, I'm not overly worried about who has absolute numbers. And then, of course, we also have the fringe parties like PA and DAP Kenya and Ford Kenya and so on, also actually being present there. And yes, we know that the president will come from either of the two major parties. And like we observed yesterday, they don't really need to have absolute, in fact, they will not have the constitutional absolute majority that will enable them, to make constitutional changes. But they will have numbers, even if the numbers don't hit 50%. They will have, either side will have reasonable numbers that, with a small group of allies, they would be able to, pass the different legislation and the different, processes that, that you need to actually run government on a day-to-day basis. So, in fact, from where I sit, it doesn't really matter. And of course, from a logical point of view, you do not need to have majority in Parliament to be declared president. In fact, it's not even one of the requirements in our constitution. So whatever is being said outside there is purely for optics. I think it's just for politics. It has nothing to do with anything. You cannot even bring that argument to a court of law and say that, look, I mean, we had majority members of Parliament, therefore we won this election. There are no such provisions, in our law.
And I'm curious, still on the question of elections. In 2017,
right,
we saw the presidential election announced,
right,
and the question was, how can you claim the presidential election was illegitimate?
Right. And
then all these other people were legitimately elected. And the process was the same.
Yes, and still just adding to that, I mean, if you have a concern that we have this situation where somebody can't get elected president with no member of parliament, as it were, from his party, then a crazy situation, I mean, a hypothetical situation. Supposing an independent candidate for the presidency won. That'll be a very interesting one, where you're alone in parliament. But of course, advanced democracies have cured this a little bit differently. The Electoral College, for example, in the US, is just meant to deal with that, so that you must actually win a particular number of counties and so on. But I think we also have that here anyway. But the way we do it is not an electoral college model where you take away an entire county. We say that you must actually get a particular number of votes in a number of counties to be declared president.
Yeah, 25%
exactly,
and above in at least 24 counties.
Exactly, in 24 counties. Okay. Yeah, so we have something that ensures that the president actually reflects the face of the republic, as it were.
Okay, and so still on that story, and you were talking about how IEBC itself is admitting that this process is slow, but here IEBC laments slow verification of forms 334B by agents. So they're saying it is the agents, these political party agents, these presidential candidate agents who are the ones who are slowing the process down. Both coalitions informed their supporters that they are poised to win. the presidency as the tallying goes on. Deputy President William Ruto and Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga's political camps yesterday played high-level mind games in a bit to energize their bases, while both claiming victory in the Tuesday presidential polls ahead of the long-awaited official announcement of the results. The Azimio coalition, led by Mr. Odinga's running mate, Martha Karua, called all its newly elected MPs and governors from across the country to a meeting in Nairobi in what appeared to be a show of strength and might for the party. The coalition argued that it had won a majority of seats both in Parliament and in the counties, which has been debunked on the front page of the Daily Nation, but there's still seats pending. So we wait for those ones and see who emerges with a majority. And terming it an indication of its numerical strength, which it said would also translate to victory in the yet-to-be-announced presidential race. DP Ruto's running mate, Rigathi Gachagua, in a pointed tweet that appeared to be an apparent reaction to the Azimio meeting, asked supporters of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance to await the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission official announcement, claiming that their own tally showed the alliance had won the presidential race. All is well. Relax, good people. Don't be drawn into sideshows. We have no time for their usual drama. Our business right now is verification of Form 34A and 34B at the National Tallying Center. My question, Prof, is this: why do they find it necessary to do this? Why can't they, if you're so sure of a win, just shut up, forgive my language, be quiet and allow the IEBC to do its job and wait for the results? It is Kenyan
culture. Both political and just public culture. Apart from them, there are people who have actually lost other seats. You know, you find somebody's running for governor, they've lost by almost 200,000 votes. they're doing 25, while the person winning, does 75. And this person is willing to go to court, in fact announcing that he's going to go to court because it was unfair and so on. And we've seen Kenyans abuse the court process. Go to court even when they're obviously wrong, but of course lawyers will always tell you that there's nothing like that. Let's go through the process and actually be able to determine this. And I think that's why in the wisdom of IEBC and of course everybody else, whatever the guys are saying outside there is all rumors, because it's actually good that Wajakoya has not declared himself winner or Maure. But that's actually what you're seeing, because like you're saying correctly, you have a process. This process is going to end. In fact, the worst case scenario, we only have two more days, Monday and Tuesday, and the process will actually come to an end. So why are you making these claims? And you're making them against, because I trust, I've been talking about these arithmetics, but Azimio and Kenya Kwanza actually had agents in all those 46,226 polling stations. They actually have the information. They know the information. So one of them must be lying when they're telling us that they won. Either that, or one of them, had major errors, while they're doing their tallies, or one of them, actually knows that they've lost, but is hoping that an error or something might happen that will actually make them win, which is a reasonable hope in a hotly contested election. And I think that's why it makes sense that responsible agencies, like relatively responsible agencies like the media, stopped their tallying, because when these guys are all over the place disputing numbers and claiming that they have the correct numbers and so on, some of course going ahead to declare victory, while of course we know it's impossible for everybody to win in an election. But
Prof, the preemptive declarations that are made by these politicians, whether explicit or implicit, it's not something new.
Exactly.
And it's lawyers say that the law is very clear.
Yes.
But it has never been clear. It's never clear. So when we see this kind of preemptive declarations, the outcomes of what then their supporters, their bases, is this not dangerous and being irresponsible?
Dennis, I cannot agree with you more, and that's why I alluded to the fact that you know, amongst the different players in the market there that are believed or influence public opinion, that what the media did was the correct thing. Because in this sort of situation, you can imagine if people are outside there saying, but, you know, NTV declared our candidate the winner. And the other one is saying, no, KTN declared our candidate the winner. You see, because for people outside there is perception. Yes. And they'll be willing to go to street to die because their victory has been stolen. And that's partly why, in fact, I think if you look at the media, then we look at the two major contesting parties, I think, you know, and IEBC, but IEBC is not even in this, when I look at public participation. I think the media has done the right thing. They're saying, look here, in a hotly contested situation like this, and you know, a tallying process that's quite close, and that can actually have error. You know, I mean, because we're not using alphanumeric data, we're actually using images. It's possible to mistake a speck, you know, on the form there to be a 1. And that one, depending on where it's located, and we're already seeing that, might actually change the results of the presidential election in a close contest. And what the media has done on this one, I'll defend the media. What the media has done is the correct thing to say, no, we're not tallying, because this election is close, and any small error can actually result in giving the impression that one person has won, while maybe that's not the correct situation. The two contenders, the political parties, are doing the opposite. They're actually letting their bases know that they've actually won. And to me, I think that is really irresponsible. What they should be telling the base is that, hold on, the IEBC has 7 days. Like you said, IEBC is not slow. IEBC has 7 days. It is only when IEBC tells us that the process is slow that they're saying they're slow. And tell guys, look at, this thing is going to be announced latest on Tuesday. And that will be the number. If you have issues around that number, we'll actually contest it in court. And that's just what